Hey everybody, Poppin' Fresh here with another video. This is season 3 of the VBL-S. We just finished up our draft yesterday or the day before, and I wanted to take a little time, sit down, talk about my choices, what my plans are, and then come back and watch this in a couple months and see what happens. See if it works well, see if it doesn't work well, and just use this to figure out what I'll be doing. I'm losing my train of thought already. I'm sorry. But let's get into it. So, this season I wanted to kind of change the way I was doing it. So, first season I just went for value picks cuz I didn't know what I was doing. Season 2, I wanted to use pledge moves. So, I got 3 pledge users, then a bunch of other mons that I thought would be good. I checked off all my boxes. I got my steel types, I got my dragon types, I got a fairy type. And I kind of went from there. But this season, after reflecting back on the first two, thinking about it, I kind of wanted to go in with a set idea, see if I can execute it, and then see how it works out. So a couple of my ideas about this season were, one, I wanted to focus on flexibility in role compression. So at the end of that other video I made, I think at the end of season 2, it was the picture of the 2 hands holding onto a palisand like that. I was gonna change out the palisand for a picture of a roll of bread, but I forgot to do that. So it's like compressing the palisand because he has that ability, like it's water compression or something like that. So that's what I wanted to hint at, but it didn't come across right because I forgot to put in the picture of bread, and then I recorded the video and it was too late. So here we are. So roll compression. What that means to me is where I can have a mon that can do multiple different things, right? They can come each week and do something a little bit different or something completely different. And I wanted to do that because last season I really felt kind of pigeonholed into a box where I have an offensive Thunderous or a support Thunderous, right? I have Pre-Marina to do a shit ton of damage, Blaziken maybe to do damage, Mr. Ron to do some important proc policies and fake out, Sceptile to show up and die. Who else did I have? Salamence to do damage, Latias to do support stuff or try to do damage and die. I got sick of my team pretty quick last season, and I had a bunch of tier 4s that kind of sucked. Absol was cool, kind of, and then it got shit on the 2 games it showed up. Double Age came once and disappointed me. Just overall, I kind of got sick of it pretty fast, so I thought having a couple mons that I like and that can do a lot of different things, I thought that'd be more fun. So that's what I did. So I'm going to go through this, and this is cool. The spreadsheet that I've been using, and I know a lot of you guys use, has been updated so you can switch out what moves you want here, which is kind of like, that was like my one complaint about it before, that you couldn't do this. So I put in some moves that I think are pretty relevant for VGC. Couldn't put all of them in, like Brick Break isn't an option, and there's a million different priority moves that I could list here, but I do not have room for all those. Also, I don't know why these 4 mons here are stuck here. I couldn't refresh it to get rid of them. I couldn't clear my cache, so they're there, but none of these 4 mons are actually on my team. I don't know if they'll get overwritten as I go through this, but we'll find out. So, starting off, this first pick was kind of what I wanted to enable all the other flexibility, right? So, to have a mon that can do a lot of different things, some of them it might not be the best at, so it needs a little help, a little support. And I looked at the support mons from Season 1 and Season 2. I compiled all the data, and when you look at it, there's 2 options that were clearly above and beyond the best 2 support mons in the format, or at least for the first 2 seasons, right? So those 2 choices were Clefairy or Indeedee, female. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that they both get Follow Me and are very good at forcing other people to attack them, right? Clefairy pretty much always lives a hit, kind of shuts down spread moves because you cannot do as much damage to the partner by trying to ignore Clefairy. So Clefairy's super good, but I really wanted to do Indeedee because Indeedee also has the ability to have an offensive presence with Expanding Force and Psychic Terrain, so it can redirect stuff to itself, but you also just can't completely, you can't also just try to get around that because it can start spamming Expanding Forces at you, do a lot of damage because of the Psychic Terrain boost. But I also have some other stuff planned for Indeedee. I don't want to, well, weakness policy stuff. I think that's probably something that it could do. So we'll see if I, excuse me, if I actually manage to get around to doing that sometime this season. But yeah, Indeedee has a lot of cool stuff to it, really unique. It's the only mon that can do what it does. And it really is going to be one of the linchpins here to enable my other mons to do stuff that is fun, unique, and just let the rest of my team be good. And it can kind of carry things on its back for a lot of the time. So we'll go ahead and put in Indeedee. So, starting off, we see some of these moves start to fill in. I get Follow Me, Ally Switch, and Helping Hand. I guess it doesn't get Light Screen or Reflect. That's weird. I thought it did. I might be wrong. So, with that, then I wanted a second mon to form just an easy kind of core that I can have and bring the backbone of a lot of my games. So, Indeedee Hatterene is kind of a classic core, but you can't do that this season because we banned Hatterene to not F tier, S tier with the Dynamax and Gigantamax combination. So, if Indeedee Hat is not an option, I wanted another option that could work pretty well. So I chose my good friend Porygon Z from Season 1, one of my favorite mons. And Porygon Z, one of its biggest issues is that if you target it down, you can slow it down, you can drop its attack, or special attack and all that stuff. But if you have someone there to help redirect, it becomes a lot easier to use. So, that's why, given the fact that I was able to get Indeedee, I chose Porygon Z next. Porygon Z is an absolute monster. It's just a nuke, and it just, I don't know, I love it, man. It definitely has a special place in my heart after Season 1. It carried me on its back all the way. Already starting to see some of the kind of weirdness in my team. I already have 2 normal types, which, not that useful in draft, but having 2 right off the bat is a very strange development, so we'll see how that goes. I guess one other thing to mention, one of my other things that I wanted to try out this season is that in all the other drafts that I've done, I think I've put too much emphasis on filling out the type chart. I mean, I don't know what's more valuable, right? A tier 4 that checks off some boxes. It's a ghost type, right? Or like because that's kind of why I picked Doublade last season, right? It was a ghost type, it was a steel type, it was tier 4, it was okay, so I took it. And I used it once and it disappointed. And I could have had something else in that spot that I actually would have maybe brought to more games. But I didn't choose that because it didn't fill out all these little boxes down here. And another thing is that when I look at this chart and I see red, I instantly think, oh shit, I gotta cover that up somehow. That's bad. I want to have all green across the board. But in reality, that's not really possible, right? I mean, sure, there's a lot of teams where you can get green all the way across here and have net resistances across the board. But honestly, I think if you have a couple weaknesses, but as long as you have ways to deal with them, I think you're going to be okay. And hopefully the way I built my team is able to deal with the weaknesses that it has, because, spoilers, it does not have the best type synergy. It probably has the worst type synergy in the league, maybe besides Steve's team, which just happened to get a lot of flying types. But still, we'll see. Okay, so Porygon Z. Absolute nuke. Love it. Max Strike is busted. Indeedee to support it. Super, super good. So the next pick I went with, I wanted another support mon that can also kind of do some damage, right? And after watching its performance last season, I thought that this mon was an absolute steal where it ended up, and that is Persian Alolan in Tier 2. The picture's disgusting, dude. It's already not a pretty mon, but that does not do it any justice. So, what does Alolan Persian do, right? You can see here, it's already starting to fill out a lot of these boxes. It gets Parting Shot, which is super nice. It gets Fake Out. It gets Icy Wind for speed control. It has Snarl, and it has Taunt. It's pretty much the most annoying Pokemon that isn't a Prankstermon. And it's really cool because since it's a Dark type, it can't get taunted by Pranksters, and there's not many things that are faster than it that have Taunt, right? Alolan Persian has a 115 speed stat. That's pretty nice. And another really interesting thing about it is it has 2 really, really good abilities. Fur Coat, it helps patch up its pretty shitty 60 base defense. And Technician is also pretty nice because a lot of the times a Lowland Persian is going to be not out here to do crazy damage. It's going to be here to provide support moves like Snarl and Icy Wind. And when you have those moves that are all below 60 base power, you get an instant 50% boost, which is pretty nice. I mean, I know last season Minty used I think it had Life Orb with Snarl on it. It was actually doing it was putting some hurt on some other mons, so it was kind of cool to see that. So, good stuff there. It also gets, like I said here earlier, Fake Out, but kind of anti-synergy with Psychic Terrain. So if I bring Persian Alola and Indeedee in the same game, I got to be very cognizant of whether or not I have Psychic Terrain up. I cannot tell you how hard I'm going to have to think this season to just look at the terrain and see if I can use my priority moves or not. I can guarantee that I will fuck it up at least once or twice this season. Possibly even lose the game because of it. Who knows? But another thing a Lowland Persian does that's really unique is that on top of having all those great traits, it also gets beat up. And my justified user, I wanted to pick Arcanine. That would have been so clutch, but a lot of other people were gunning for that. It's a great mod. It's a great pick. I'm not surprised I did not get it. It's funny, though. Arcanine was actually the only mon on my draft plan that I didn't get. Everything else went exactly according to plan. I was most worried about Indeedee getting taken and then Arcanine, but I'd rather have Indeedee if I had to pick between the two of them. So, yeah, that's a Lowland Persian. Super good, all-around support mon. Can live a hit if it needs to. And it's one of my best forms of speed control on this team, because I did not end up picking a Tailwind user. But I don't think you honestly need Tailwind. I think a fast Icy Wind is pretty nice, being able to break sashes and stuff like that, and then drop speed. Only difficult thing is if it's a mon that can't have its speed lowered, like Dragapult, which I'm facing week 1. Kind of throws a wrench in things, right? If you can't actually get your speed control off in the way that you want. So, with Persian Alola, I kind of like how I'm going here. I have 2 really good support moms, 1 absolute nuke, and I guess this was actually a member that I didn't have on the draft plan that I kind of thought about it and realized it was an absolute steal at tier 2, and that is Circuitry, a wildly powerful special nuke again. So with these guys, my average special attack is 120, which is kind of nuts. That'll definitely be going down. Don't worry, that's not the final number it gets to. But yeah, Circuitry. It has a lot of power behind it. It has a 173 special attack stat, which is just stupid. It gets even stronger after it gets every single kill, because there's no way to manipulate stats to not get a special attack boost on Circuitry, but that's fine. That's really all it needs. Put a Scarf on it, start spamming Discharge or something like that, and you, the second you get your kill, it's pretty much game over unless they have a ground type or some way to stop spread moves like Wide Guard. Circuitry doesn't really do the most for my team. I just spat on my mic, sorry. Circuitry doesn't really do the most for my team. It's just another really powerful special attacker, but I'm looking forward to using it. It gets Electro Web, which is pretty nice. Oh, hold up. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So Circuitry, pretty nasty. Good spread moves, good power. Really good power. Because it's literally power chords. Get it? Yeah, good stuff there. Next pick. Ah, shit, what was my next pick? Let me go back to the draft channel. I think my next pick was... I think it was Oranguru, right? Or Oranguru. I say Oranguru. It makes more sense to me. Let's see. Yes, it was Oranguru. So, this is a mon I had my eye on last season, but I never had the ability to do a free agency for it because when we had that one team drop out and another team take over, they free agency their whole team around and ended up with this dude. And I was kind of sad because it's so cool. I was definitely sleeping on it the first season, maybe first 2. I can't remember when it showed up. But sorry, that was really loud. Oranguru has a lot of really cool stuff it can do, right? So it has some nice abilities, Inner Focus to prevent it from being fake outed. Granted, I have Psychic Terrain that can kind of help out with that, but it's not always going to be paired up with Indeedee, given the fact that they're both the exact same type, which can definitely suck if I lead into like something with a Spread Bug move, if that exists, or like a Moltres with AC. but I don't know if I play AC this season. But it has a lot of cool abilities. So inner focus, good to stop, fake out, telepathy, makes it so it can't get hit by my teammate's spread moves, which is nice if I pair it up with something like circuitry. And it also has, which is the cool one, which is why I wanted it, symbiosis, which is a incredibly unique ability. I think only it and Florges get it, but Florges isn't even in the game anymore. So Oranguru essentially has it as a unique ability. And what that does is, if its teammate consumes its item, Oranguru, being the generous soul that he is, he gives his item away to them, right? So there's a lot of stuff I have planned with that. So we will see if I manage to make it work. But, so again, another Mon with a lot of different abilities that are useful. And a lot of different stuff it can do. So if we talk about the moves that it has, it doesn't have any kind of pivoting moves, but it starts to get some really good support stuff. It gets Yawn, it gets a really, really safe Trick Room, it gets Bulldoze for additional speed control, Screens, Ally Switch, Taunt, and I didn't even bother putting it on here because I don't even think it's an option because it's the only Mon that gets it. It gets Instruct, which is super, super cool. Doesn't get Helping Hand, but what's better than a 1.5 boost? A 2x boost, right? So, that's one of the big reasons why I picked Oranguru. Instruct can really do some damage if I, like, honestly, Oranguru Circuitry is super, super good. I was talking to Jordan about it. I think he said he used that in another league he was in. But with Telepathy, so I don't get hurt by Discharge, I can keep instructing Circuitry to do it again and again and again. Just start dealing out tons of damage, getting beast boosts. It's super cool, man. I love my team this season, and Oranguru is a big part of what enables it. So I think he's a great Mon. And he actually has really good stats all around. And his speed's at a nice 60 so that I can do Trick Room stuff with it. But I also, if I need to, I can do faster stuff with like a Scarf. So, yeah, I'm super excited to use Oranguru. He's a Mon that I'd imagine would come a lot of weeks. Same thing with Indeedee. I guess I haven't mentioned that. Indeedee, I'd imagine come a lot. Horgunzy can come a lot. Persian can come a lot. Circuitry's probably harder to bring because he's only one type that can get kind of walled out by a lot of stuff. And Oranguru is also super easy to bring. So, moving on from here, I have good support Mons all around, some powerful special attackers, but I'm lacking in the physical department, right? And I also don't have any kind of ways of dealing with physical attackers. I have Snarl from Persian to stop special stuff. So, another Mon that can do a lot of things at once is our good friend, Hitmontop. Which, dude, he looks so cool. I love sprites so much more than the models. His sprites are so cool where he's spinning on his head and all that, but his models, he's just dancing back and forth, and it's, I don't know. I get it, but it's not as cool. So, despite being a fighting type who you'd think would all be about, you know, dealing damage, he is not. He is a very good support Mon that can also deal damage. So, Hitmontop, I like a lot. I was also eyeing him between seasons, and I'm surprised that nobody picked him in the first two seasons. He's a super, super good value Mon. He was he's similar to Scrafty, which is why I imagine he didn't get picked. Scrafty has the Dark type, Snarl as well. There's a couple of things Hitmontop can do that Scrafty can't, like Wide Guard, but I think on the overall they're pretty similar. When I had it queued up to pick, it was either Hitmontop, and if I could get him, I'd pick Scrafty, and they'd both essentially get the same thing done. And what is it that they get done, you ask? Well, they both have Intimidate. Well, Hitmontop has Intimidate. He's got Fake Out for some support options, Bulldoze, and Helping Hand, which granted, a lot of his stuff doesn't show up on here, but that's because Hitmontop has like a billion priority moves, and I couldn't list them all here. So essentially, I think Hitmontop can honestly probably proc a weakness policy on almost any member of my team. Like even just the guys right here, we have Bulldoze for Circuitry, and then a combination of either Sucker Punch or Vacuum Wave for any of these other guys here. So, and he can do that with Intimidating them or Technician. Granted, I probably don't want to proc a weakness policy using Technician, do some more damage to myself. But, I don't know, man. Hitmontop's super cool. He can do so many different things, and it's a Wide Guard in the case that I do go up against a team that can beat my spread move spam with their own spread move spam, so I can send it Hitmontop and kind of shut that down. He also has a lot of ways to deal with, I don't know, it's so versatile, right? they set up screens. I can come in, break it. They have a physical attacker. I can come in, intimidate it. It can also this is a great mon for an assault vest. It has a lot of attacking options that do have good secondary effects, right? So he can just be super bulky. Only thing I really wish Hitmontop had that Scrafty has uniquely is Drain Punch. If Hitmontop had Drain Punch, it'd be so much better. It could just live forever and be super annoying instead of just pretty annoying as it is now. But again, I think Hitmontop is a critical part of this team. When I was kind of planning things around, I knew I wanted Ndidi, Persian, Oranguru, and Hitmontop. These were some of the core 4, I would say, and everything else is just kind of a fill-in, like Nuke, and then some of the other stuff later. So there's Hitmontop. The next member of the team is another way of speed control, right? As it stands now, my only speed control is really Persian and Oranguru. I can either do my fast stuff with Persian or my Trick Room stuff with Oranguru. And I kind of wanted another way of doing fast stuff. So, oops, it doesn't have an 8 in it. I picked Slurpuff next. So Slurpuff, Unburden, Psychic Terrain, pretty obvious synergy. Also has Sweet Veil, which I think stops sleep. Not 100% sure on that. But Slurpuff is another Pokemon that is kind of... You look at it, it's pretty unassuming, right? It's got pretty mediocre stats across the board. Fairy type's a great typing, obviously, but, I mean, it's not overwhelmingly powerful. It doesn't learn any great signature moves. But I think it has just the right amount of stuff to be a very valuable asset to the team. So it has... Let's start going through the moves here. Okay, nothing so far. It gets Yawn, which is a really nice support move. Light Screen is pretty sweet. Helping Hand is awesome. But again, it has some pretty unique moves here that I wasn't able to list. And one of the really... It's kind of weird that it learns it, but one of the really nice things about Slurpuff is that it learns String Shot. Which, you hear String Shot, you think, that's some Route 1 Caterpie shit, right? It is. But in doubles, String Shot hits both enemies and cuts their speed in half, which is super cool. So, by setting up a Psychic Terrain, I can double Slurpuff's speed with Psychic Seed and start cutting my opponent's speed in half, which is essentially Tailwind. Granted, it only has 95% accuracy, but nah, who's ever missed a 95% accurate move before? Not this guy. So, Slurpuff is super nice like that. It also has, like I said, its stats aren't the greatest, but 80 attack, 85 special attack, passable. It can do some offensive stuff as well. It doesn't get Belly Drum anymore, which sucks because I could have done like Follow Me Ndidi with Belly Drum Slurpuff. Let's just start going off from there. But I mean, you can't have it all. But I think I think Slurpuff's a great mon. We got a lot of stuff planned for it. It can be supportive. It can be offensive. So I don't know. I'm just excited. Like I said, I really like my team this season. Who did I have left? I have 4 more mons that I picked. Oh, I remember who was next. So, like I said earlier, I have my fast mode kind of filled out now with Slurpuff, Porygon Z, Circuitry. But I wanted my Trick Room mode. And originally I was thinking I wanted Rhydon. I had Rhydon Season 1. He is a lot more valuable than a Tier 3. He honestly could be Tier 2 material, but given the fact that we bumped Rhyperior down, I don't know, man. I think there's a case to be made for Rhydon over Rhyperior. I think his ability to use an Eviolite is super, super crazy, given that he was not supposed to be an unevolved Pokemon originally. Then you could just slap an Eviolite on him and make him ridiculously tanky. Like, a Rhydon should not be able to live a water move, right? But with an Eviolite and the right EVs, it totally can. So, I was thinking Rhydon, but I was considering it and realizing that I wanted a mon that could take advantage more of the fact that I have a really good redirector on my team, Ndidi. So, I was thinking about it, and I also wanted someone with the ability Lightning Rod for a mon I'm going to pick later on. So that could have also been Rhydon, but I realized that Marowak can do all the stuff that I wanted Rhydon for, and more, and do even more damage, and also not take up an item slot. So, Marowak, what does he do for the team? Well, again, let's look at the little chart. Will-O-Wisp, I guess? Probably because of Alolan Marowak. I wonder if that's accurate. I feel like that's wrong. But he supposedly learns Will-O-Wisp. It's Icy Wind, Bulldoze, and that's it? Okay. Well, you know what a Marowak does. If you see a Marowak, you know it's going to do a shit ton of damage. Because it gets to hold the Thick Club and double its attack stat from, well, not not exact. Well, yeah, double its stat. I don't know what its equivalent base stat would be. Probably like 160 something. Probably higher, actually. But yeah, Marowak does a ton of damage. It also gets Belly Drum, which if you really want to do overkill, I guess you could do that. It'd be pretty sick to do set up Trick Room, get a Belly Drum off, and then start instructing that. Because that's essentially the reason why I wanted Marowak. I wanted to do some more instruct spread damage stuff. And really, there's no better Earthquaker than Marowak, honestly. Especially if I don't have to be taking damage because of my telepathy or Rangaroo. It's kind of the same story as Circuitry, but slower and kind of the Trick Room version of that, right? Circuitry is faster, Marowak's really dog shit slow. So, I have an in Trick Room annoying a Rangaroo option and an out of Trick Room annoying a Rangaroo option. So, that's what Marowak's for. And he also has Lightning Rod to help redirect some stuff away from some of the other Mons I want. And I think that Mon is up next. So, now we go into my tier. Oh, let's go to the. Can I do the other form? I mean, okay, I can't. But just imagine all those little small numbers down here in Stat Central are way bigger. So, getting into the lower tier picks, I looked at tier 4, and I saw 2 Mons that I thought were probably the best options that I had there. And the first off was Wishy-Washy. And Wishy-Washy, when he is not in little baby form, he is an absolute unit. I think he has like 140 attack and special attack, 130 defense and special defense. Granted, he only has 45 HP, and he pretty much dies when he hits 25%. But before he hits 25%, he can do a lot of damage. So I think Wishy-Washy is a great option. It's a really good Dynamax target to help boost that its stats to make it kind of have more HP than it would normally have. I mean, you know, I'm actually not sure how Dynamax Wishy-Washy works. I don't know if it goes off of the 25% of your current health or 25% of your original health. So that's something I should probably test out before I bring it to a game. But again, that's another thing we'll figure out when we get to it. So Wishy-Washy is a super strong tier 4 option. It is incredibly slow, so it's great in Trick Room as well. It learns some good spread moves. It gets Muddy Water. It gets Surf for, again, its best friend Rangaroo. And I just really don't think there's a better hard hitter available in tier 4 than Wishy-Washy. And being able to, I don't know, I feel like it's also really good. It again kind of frees up some item choice, right? If I could just give it a 25% berry every week and it doesn't interfere with anything else. Second to last pick, yeah, I'm getting a little bit less in depth with these because these were kind of just nice to haves, right? But obviously, my tier 4s are not going to be doing as much as my tier 1s, as much as I want them to be. So, they are not as critical to the team. I guess Wishy-Washy also gets Helping Hand, so that's kind of nice if it gets down to, oh no, my music ended. Oh no. Let's go ahead and change that. Just kidding. I'm just going to restart it. Yeah, so Wishy-Washy, even when it gets down to tiny baby form, it's probably going to be ignored, right? So then it can either Helping Hand, or it gets Endeavor, which is a huge chunk to anything else. So even when he goes down to tiny baby form, he's still not completely avoidable, right? You still have to take your time, waste an attack to get this little shitty Pokemon off the field once it goes down to baby form. My second and last tier 4 was Charjabug of of Steve fame. I think he qualified for Players Cup 3 with this one. It was on that Kieran team of his he had. And Charjabug is really just here for one reason, which is that nice, juicy ability it has, Battery. And just by existing, they can help out Indeedee, Porygon Z, Persian, Xurkitree, Oranguru, possibly Slurpuff, and even Wishy-Washy. So, just existing gives them an automatic Life Orb, which is super sick. And and that makes you have to target it, but with an Eviolite, it's actually surprisingly bulky. And then it also can start Electro-Webbing you, or Struggle Bugging you, or even setting up Light Screen, which is kind of cool. I didn't see that. I got that earlier. But that's essentially what Charjabug's there for. It shows up, you know what it's going to do, you know who it's going to be paired with, but you still can't ignore it. It's going to be there. It's going to be absolutely a pain in the ass to take care of. And just, even if it gets a Protect in for a turn and absorbs one hit, that's all it needs to do. In an entire match, that's all Charjabug needs to do to get some what do you call to get its job done. So I think, again, I think I picked some pretty good tier 4s. They're pretty unassuming, but they have a lot of potential hidden within them, and I hope that the rest of my squad is enough to unlock that potential. Then for my last mon, not really have too much to say about it. It's Kabalion, a really good attacker, justified to be paired with Persian. I waited to choose it last because I figure its only gimmick is justified. There's not too many other teams that have beat up justified on them, so I thought I was pretty safe to leave it for last, and I was. I really don't like Kabalion. I think it's ugly as shit. I just can't. I don't find a single redeeming quality other than it's good, it being a beat up target. But it's good at its job. Maybe it'll win me over by the end of the season. Because, I mean, Season 1, I hated Aromatisse, but now I have a little special place for it in my heart, and it was able to put in work, so hopefully Kabalion will be a similar story. Looking at it here, what else does it get? Volt Switch, pretty cool. Taunt, Reflect, Helping Hand, so definitely a good pick, and I hope it'll grow me over the season, because the rest of my team, I at least liked most of their designs. Maybe not Slurpuff, but Kabalion it just screams edgelord to me, and it screams like, I don't know, it gives me Lucario vibes, and not just because of the same typing, right? I feel like it's trying too hard to be cool, but I don't know. Hopefully it is cool. So yeah, that's my team. Now we can kind of take a look and go over. I never saw it laid out like this, and I realized how bad it was. But my type chart, I have 3 normal types, no fire types, no grass, no ice, no poison, no flying, no rock, no ghost, no dragon. That's a lot of shit I'm missing. And I have a lot of net weaknesses too. Fairy is okay to have a net weakness too. Ground might be a little tougher. Fighting is a bit rough. And fire will be okay. I don't think I'm going to bring these two together very often. But it's funny, just a lot of my team, there's a lot of empty space here, right? Like, my team, only 3 months my team even interact with fire, 2 interact with water. I mean, that's what happens when you draft 3 normal types, right? So, not the craziest thing, but it's very wonky. There's a lot of just missing types here, so I'll be missing stab a lot of the time, but I think given the mons that I have, I don't really think I need that. I think they're good enough at what they do to just stand by themselves and not have to form the Fire, Water, Grass, Fairy, Dragon, Steel, so I guess let's go through this little checklist here and see if we can do immediate physical offense, Marowak, special offense, lots, hazard removal as singles, ground of poison as singles, hazard setters as singles, no, 1 setup threat, yes, defensive walls, nope, that's also yeah, this is really for singles, huh? I will say my team does have pretty decent speed tiers when you end up looking at it. I range 115 all the way down to 30, well, not 36. Charge Bug isn't going to be attacking. So 115 all the way down to 40 on Wishiwashi. So granted, there are things that could outslow me in Trick Room, Escavalier and Stack Attacker, but I don't think I actually play Daddy. So if I end up playing KC, dude, if I end up playing KC, which I think I do, I'm going to have to deal with Escavalier again. It's going to be a flashback from Season 1. I don't have a way to deal with it. Maybe Marowak. Who knows? But, yeah, that's the team. I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to use it. I think it has a lot of uniqueness to it, a lot of different options. Like, I can see myself bringing all of these mons to a game. It's not like even Charjabug, right? Like, it's not like I'm going to bring Charjabug to one game for a meme. Like, I could legitimately bring it, and it could legitimately be a threat. So, I don't know. I really like my team. I want to see what other people think of it. I'm sure in the power rankings it'll be docked for having shitty type coverage, and that is entirely accurate. But yeah, I mean that's what it is. I came into it knowing that's what I came into this draft with a plan. I wanted roll compression. I didn't care about typing. I just wanted mons that could do what they do and have an ability to bring all these mons to games, right? And I think I accomplished that. So over the next 9 weeks, we'll see. And yeah, that's the team. Is there anything else that I can show on draft? Yeah, no, I guess this just kind of shows how many different priority moves Hitmontop gets. It's quite a bit. Alright, so I can play Mandela, Grafton, California, Cincinnati, Waterloo, Baked Beans. I love that team name. Libertyville in New York. And there's my Season 2 team. So, yeah, good team. Hopefully. Excited to use it regardless. So, yeah. I will catch you guys in the first video of the season, which would be a team builder against Bohm. So, I'll catch you whenever I upload that one. Take it easy.